The following is a live broadcast of a Lone Star community radio program, recorded and broadcasted live on irlonestar.com, Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and facebook.com/irlonestar. For more information on this show, please visit our show page at irlonestar.com/shows. To sponsor or donate to this program, visit our donate page at irlonestar.com/donate, or email us at lscrstudios@gmail.com, or give us a call at 936-666-1084. Lone Star Community Radio production and broadcast is possible by folks like you. So sponsor and donate today.
You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe, and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to the Weekly Business Hour, and this is Rick Schissler. I'm your host. I'm a Silver Fox advisor and the founder of OneBestConsult.com. Thank you for taking time to join us today on the show. We're all kind of in a new place these days, and that is as applicable here in Montgomery County as it is anywhere in the world. So if you're listening in from outside the county, somewhere in the States or across the oceans, I appreciate it, because our whole goal is to give you information, share ideas that can make a real difference in your business. I want to remind you that if you're not a regular listener, you can watch as well as listen to the show. Go to Facebook, YouTube, look for the Weekly Business Hour channel and click on it. And so you can watch us live here as well as listen to the program. Today's program is sponsored by Keith O'Connell, Closing Strong. I've talked about Keith over the last few weeks. I know Keith personally. His organization, Closing Strong, the people that work there, can provide you with excellent business coaching, mentoring, and business advice. They've been at it. Keith has for over 4 decades. He's been out there working in various size businesses, both small, medium-sized businesses. So I encourage you, reach out to Keith O'Connor and his group at Closing Strong LLC, and that's www.closingstrong.com. And I also want to give you a reminder that if you have a question during the show for myself, our guest, or even after the show, and even a question about your own business, please send me an email. It's very simple. Just send it to that's the number 1, bestconsult@gmail.com. That's bestconsult@gmail.com. Well, today we start a brand new Soup to Nuts conversation. And as you may know, if you've been a regular listener, we do these conversations typically every month, maybe every 2 months. We bring in someone who we feel is an expert in a particular area, and we have typically a 3-part conversation. So today will be part 1. And we have brought in, to me, one of the foremost experts in sales management and training of salespeople, Mr. Mark Miller. Mark's got a great background. He's absolutely been there, done it. He's won sales awards when he first started out, sales management awards, even in the Fortune 500 category. And at the same time, he has worked through the Sandler Sales Institute, training for almost 20 years people on how to be a better salesman, how to manage salespeople, how to hire them, how to get them motivated to get the most out of them, the whole gamut. Mark, I could keep going on, but welcome to the show.
Thanks, Rick. That was very flattering. Can you just follow me around? And the first thing I want to do is thank you, because this is the first time I've had long pants and a collared shirt on since March 22nd. So it's great to be dressed up again.
You know, somebody commented to me today, said, "Boy, you really look nice." And I said, "Okay, I look like I'm going out to play golf." Yeah. But, yeah, you're right. And there's a lot of serious things that obviously have taken place over the last 90 days. But as you and I, Mark, were talking about before the show, there's some opportunities, some great opportunities for the businesses that have the foresight and the initiative and will invest their time and money to improve their businesses. Maybe change, but they can improve and absolutely take it home. So let's talk about the sales area today.
Yeah, well, the title today is Selling in the New Era, and it really is a new era. I mean, what we've been going through for the last 8 weeks or so, we've never done. No, this is all uncharted territory. People want tests. Well, we didn't know we needed tests yesterday, and all of a sudden we're supposed to have 100 million of them. It's hard to do. People had to close their businesses, barbers, restaurants. You can't go out to eat. You can't go see your friends. You can't do your normal socialization. We're tired of looking at each other in our house. Fortunately, it's kind of big enough we can all go to our own rooms every now and then, but we're locked in. And now we're going to come out. And how are we going to come out? Because it's not the same. We are, fortunately or unfortunately, forever changed. Folks that live paycheck to paycheck are in big trouble. Your business that may have been shut down, how are you going to restart it? What are you going to do? And that's what we're here today. We're going to give you some ideas of how to get restarted, because you're going to, and you're going to come out of it just fine, but you can't do it like you did on March 22nd. Something's going to have to change.
And you make an excellent point, because, and as I truly believe that there will be new opportunities and opportunities for those who do have the foresight and able to regroup. And I've got a little bit to say about that at the end of today's program in my tip of the week. But sales, we got to bring the revenue in, right? First and foremost. So let's just jump into that and start talking about, okay, I'm getting ready to open up. Where's the business? How do I get the business in?
Yeah, that's a problem, isn't it? Because it's a new era, and I can promise you the last thing someone wants is an old-fashioned sales call. Hi, I can be in your neighborhood Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Okay, if I drop by, or hey, have you seen our new promotion on? That isn't going to work. But I need business. What am I going to do? And you're going to have to change a little bit of how you present yourself. So that's what we're going to talk about for the rest of the hour, I think.
Well, and you make a wonderful point, because here I've been under pressure, if nothing else, for 60, 90 days. If I've got employees, I'm worried about them, concerned about them, they're worried about themselves, all these things going on. I've got customers out there, what are they going to do? And then I got vendors who are going to supply me with product or the tools or the parts or pieces I need to service. The entire network, the business network, if you will, has been shut in, and here I got to restart and I got to sell. So what's the first thing I need to do?
Well, there's an old saying, and it's something like, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And I can't even remember who said it. It's that old. But it does count now, because people are going to need some nurturing and some care. And you're going to say, well, fine, go see a therapist. That's not my job. Well, yeah, it is. And we're going to explain why it is as we move further. But you have got to be a little bit nurturing, and we'll teach you how to do that through the end of the program. But for now, it's just the way it's going to be. Prospects and clients, they're going to, like you said, they're going to be behind on rent. They're going to have lost employees, perhaps. I mean, I'm not sure. I know one of my customers laid his callers off, for example, and they made more money being laid off than they did while they were working for him. So I don't know if they're coming back. And, maybe you're in the same situation. Maybe who you're calling is in the same way. I don't know. But we're going to have to work through all that. And this is a time for you to find those things out and let them. This is not very good, but what I say, let them throw up on the desk and let them get it all out. People feel ever so much better about themselves once they're able to get that all out. And who better than you, more or less a stranger. You have no personal ties necessarily to these folks. And you can be the open book, and they can say whatever they want to you without fear of retribution from their close associates.
So what I hear you saying is that when I approach a business, whether it's on the phone, in person, however I'm communicating with them, open that door a little bit to allow them just to vent or let out what they have because of what's happened over the last 90 days, call it.
Exactly.
A lot of fear out there, and fear needs to be shared in order to be eliminated, in my opinion. So you're saying you walk in, now you've got something to offer, right?
That's
you open up a little bit.
Exactly right. So here's the other magical thing that happens. When you happen to be on the receiving end of this unloading, if you will, then there's some kind of bond that gets formed. And I don't want to say guilt because that's not exactly the right word, but there is some relationship that builds. Hey, you were kind enough to listen. not tangibly or in monetary figures or anything like that, but they want to do something for you now because you did something nice to them. And it could be as small as listen to what you have to say. I mean, and that's kind of the psychological event that's going on. Let them dump, you listen, you nurture, and by all means, this is not the time for you to say, oh, yeah, man, you think that's bad? Let me tell you what happened to me, because you just blew it. Okay? Absolutely blew it. If you don't hear a click in the next 10 seconds, I will be surprised. So it's not about you. It's completely about them. You got to keep that in mind. Or you can't tell them the horror story about Uncle Fred and his business, or the guy you just talked to on the phone and their business. That doesn't matter. It's only about them and what's going on in their place and how they're doing. And this is the time for you to be a resource, not a salesperson. What is it they need most?
Well, and what I find interesting about that again, you say, well, gosh, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not well, good salespeople always should be good listeners, right? Yeah. And so it gives you a chance to really use that skill, and in many cases probably hone it, develop it a little better, because you sit there and you try to listen. And I think ultimately what you see is their door starts to open, like you say, a bond develops. And so it's all about relationship building. And in good sales, we are supposed to do that anyway, just a little different approach. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. I mean, you're supposed to be good listeners. And, this whole thing, God gave you one mouth and two ears. We used to print T-shirts at sales meetings that said, shut up and listen, the old Zig Ziglar line. And as much as you say that, Rick, and everybody knows it, very few people practice it. And how do you listen? You have to ask the nurturing questions or encourage more conversations. Simply, wow, tell me more about that. What happened after you just said happened? And what did you do to fix it? How did it work? What do you need now? Those kinds of questions that are nurturing. And also, while you're asking those questions and being kind, you're also opening the door a little wider. So now you know what's really important to them. And it may not be what you have right now, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be soon.
Well, and I like the idea, if we can kind of backtrack a little bit, you use the word resource. You become a resource to that individual. What does that really mean, though?
Well, we all have Rolodexes. We have vendors, we have clients, we have prospects, we have friends, we have associates, we have, guys we play golf with, girls we play bunco with, whatever it is. We all have a network. And, maybe this guy simply needs the locks fixed because they don't work anymore in his business. They're all rusted shut. Well, maybe you know a really good locksmith that does great work. You can at least lead him in that direction. And then he'll say, oh, Mark's the guy that told me about the locksmith. Or maybe it's someone that now the pest control guy needs to come over because maybe the building hasn't been serviced and they have unwanted friends that have lived there while they were gone. And maybe they need to go away. Whatever it is, there's something that you can provide to them or for them from your Rolodex. And that's why it's always good to keep all these people that you know active in some way. And we'll talk about that later too. But, you got to keep in touch with everyone you touch.
It's funny you should say that about the building now has people, has few inhabitants that necessarily weren't there. It comes into my mind because reading stories over the weekend that people are popping up and offering services to come in and I call it fumigate, but to come in and clean the building or clean the workspace. And so I would absolutely add one of those to my Rolodex or my contact list, or one or two, and then make sure they're doing a good job because that is just it's going to be in high demand.
Yeah, I know. And one of my associates is he does the duct cleaning, and he's got the UV lights that he can install that kills viruses and whatever else it does. What a great time to have him stop by, So and that's industrial homeowners. So those kinds of things are things you have to have in your Rolodex. And you're exactly right. And guess what? We just did it, didn't we? I'm talking about it, and you filled in with more, and now I know more. And we could talk about all the people we know probably for the rest of the hour, right?
Yeah. No, you make a good point. So I guess my idea is make sure that your Rolodex contact list is up to date, and you've got some new opportunities there, like these folks that come in and cleanse the building, cleanse the workplace.
Exactly. Or whatever it might be.
Right.
And, we may have vendors too. I have vendors, not many, but I have vendors and I have associates that I hire from time to time. You need to touch them too and see what they need, because you never know. The vendor, maybe his place needs fumigated and you might know about that. And then you can start building a relationship for that vendor. So next time you need a deal or a rush job, they say, oh, that was old Mark. Yeah, I can do that for him, or whatever. So it works not only in the selling, but in your everyday work environment. I think the mirror needs to be reversed. So, when you look in the mirror, you see you, yes? So if we can reverse it so that when you look in the mirror, you see them or whoever, and make them the focus of the business and get you out of it.
Right. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Believe it or not, we're to the point in time we need to take our first commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take that break, and when we come back, we're going to continue this conversation about making your customer the center of their universe. Your universe is your customer. Always true, but more so today. We'll be right back, so please stay with us.
For business ideas and news you can use, join us on the weekly business hour every Monday at 11 a.m. on Lone Star Community Radio.
Don't forget to download the Lone Star Community Radio app for your Google Play or Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM. That is Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1.
What is homelessness? Have you seen parents struggle to find a job without having transportation or childcare? What about the children sleeping in cars with nothing to eat? Families shouldn't have to struggle to survive, and children should not be homeless. Family Promise of Montgomery County serves the needs of homeless families and their children. Learn about ways you can help and learn about partnership opportunities at www.familypromiseofmc.org or call our day center at 936-441-8778.
Hi, I'm Keith O'Connell, CEO coach and business mentor. I've spent 4 decades helping multiple entrepreneurs use my principles to take their businesses to the next level. My methods do not fix your problems, they help you fix them for yourself. I call this process closing strong. Contact me at 713-557-1639 or visit my website at closingstrong.com for a risk-free 30-minute meeting to see how I can help you. Because a business can only go as far as its leader can take it.
Listen in Mondays at noon to hear Conroe news from local nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture.
It's all about business on the weekly business hour every Monday at 11 a.m. on Lone Star Community Radio.
You are listening to the Weekly Business Hour, and this is Rick Schissler, your host, and we're right in the middle of having I think, a wonderful soup to nuts conversation with Mr. Mark Miller, and we're talking about selling in the new era. If you don't believe things have changed, wait till you open your business. One of the things I'm doing right now personally is reaching out to clients, people I know, and asking them, because here in Texas, we have opened somewhat. We've actually cracked that door a little bit, and some folks opened on Friday, and it was interesting, some of the things that happened to them when they reopened their businesses. So let's continue that conversation. Now, Mark, we were talking about people as sales, and I'm working sales team, sales management, and I'm focusing on this customer. I make them the center of the universe because of all the extraneous things that have happened to them, to their business by being closed down and whatnot. How do I really make them, besides listening, the center of the universe?
Okay. Well, let's start with, hey, we're going to call somebody. I'm sure all of us had some business that we were pursuing perhaps before we couldn't pursue it anymore. And maybe we've kept in contact, maybe we haven't, who knows. And either way, the next thing to say is, hey, Rick, it's Mark, Strategies for Success. Remember we were talking a few weeks ago. I know everything's changed, and I'm not even sure you remember who I am, because I'd like to think I'm unforgettable, but I know I'm probably not. So tell me what's going on in your world. Have you opened back up? Did all your employees come back? Those kinds of questions to get started with. And, if they don't want to talk to you, fine. Hey, I understand this is probably not a good time. It's first day you're open, but I really would like to talk to you. And if it's okay with you, just give me a date and time and I'll call you back. And then I don't care what you do. When that date and time rolls around, you call him back. Now, whether or not he's there, I have no idea. I can't promise that. But what you can say is leave some message with something. Hey, I talked with Rick on May the 3rd, and he asked me to give him a call on May the 15th at 10. It's May the 15th at 10. I'm calling him back because that's what he asked me to do. And now you've built that trust even a little bit, because who do you like and trust? People who do what they say they're going to do, and you just did. So it's not, is that a game changer? Are you going to get a $100,000 order from this guy? No, probably not. But have you begun to build a relationship with that? I think of it as little cards on the scale of justice, the scale of justice, the two things with the pans and the arm. And if you could just put a little mark card on one side to tilt it a little bit, and then put another little mark card and tilt it a little bit, and pretty soon you're the preferred vendor.
It's the opportunity in trust building, which I think you would probably agree is one of the keys of being successful in selling in general. But in my opinion, the opportunity is even bigger since we went through the past 60, 90 days and the business was closed, because I'm overloaded. I'm just put myself in the head of someone who has to open a business back up. I've got a million different new things that I've never thought I'd ever do, and all this pressure and all these things kicking in. And even if I'm really good, I'm going to be looking for people to support me, whether it be a vendor or whatever it might be, customers. I want customers I can trust and that will give me feedback, whatever.
Yes.
So trust building is a tool we need to really work on in the sales game.
It really is, and you do it. My grandmother said, "Nice goes a long way," and she's right. And just nice, just be a little nice. Don't be self-centered. Just be a little nice, and it does go a long way. And that's the mindset we have to restart with. And yeah, you're right. You don't know what's going on. That's why we want to be the resource. We talked a little bit about that before the break. So as they say, look, Mark, I'm swamped. I can't even figure out how to rehire the people that I'm supposed to rehire, ethically, legally, whatever. So I completely understand. I know these guys, Silver Foxes. One of them is an attorney, and he can help you out. Would you like his phone number? Can I help you some way? Does that make any sense? Or do you have someone already doing that for you? And, move on to the next thing that's on his list. The air conditioner doesn't work. Oh, man. I got a buddy that does, commercial air conditioning services. He's not real busy right now either. Maybe you should give, old Greg a call and see what goes on. So on and on and on. And keep the conversation going, but not longer than they want. And then pick a date. And the last thing I really want you to do is pick a date and time to follow up that you mutually agree on. Hey, is it okay? He said, well, just give me a call next week. Fine. I know you're busy. Is one day better than the other? Monday, Tuesday? Well, people don't like me to call them on Monday. Would Wednesday be okay? Sure, fine. Wednesday, 10 o'clock again, same time we're talking now. Whatever. And get it agreed on some way, and then move forward from there.
Right.
So, and there's a lot of things that have happened, in our family, for example. My mother-in-law got put in an assisted living center, 3 days before we could never see her again, right? So you can imagine my wife, and I'm sure everybody has a story like that they're going to tell. Somebody got sick, they can't see him. It's Mother's Day this Sunday, Mom lives in San Antonio or whatever, you can't go, so you can't give her a hug. Oh my gosh, so there are plenty of things out there that you need to understand and move forward with, and nurture. So let's talk about the nurturing thing. I think it's probably time. There's all kinds of theories of psychologists, and it's time for me, for full disclosure, I'm a chemist by training, not a psychologist. Okay, and if you think of chemists and you were going to start with a nurturing individual, it probably wouldn't be a chemist. Yeah. So, nor a CPA, nor an engineer, nor, an I can't say the word. So
Actuarial.
Thank you. Accountant. So, but we can all learn, right? So I think maybe a little lesson in nurturing. There's It's easy to be critical, right? And it depends really on, did you have a nice grandma like I did that helped raise me, or she said nice goes a long way, or did you have a grandma that said, nice guys finish last. There's, get what you can for yourself. So, all this, believe it or not, gets learned and becomes part of who we are. Yeah. So for those of us who grew up with unnice grandmas or parents or wolves or whoever we got raised with, it takes some learning. So, I'll tell you the spilled milk story. When I was a boy, and probably all of us when we were young children, we spilled the milk sometime in our life, right? Either we tipped a bowl of cereal over, we dropped a glass, the gallon jug glugged one too many times, and the milk went everywhere. And so whoever was around had some choices, right? They could say, "You idiot, what'd you spill that milk for?" Which, all of us, raise your hand if that was you. Okay, fine, I see all those hands out there. And then some of us are lucky enough to have something, hey, accidents happen, let's get some paper towels and help mom clean it up, and it'll be okay. So those are the two things you can say, right? Pretty much. Or I guess if you were really bad, they just walk out of the room and leave you with the problem, right? So those are sort of how it goes. So now when someone says something to you like, I really don't understand how I'm going to get this PPP business all in line and make sure it's all forgiven, you can say, well, that's easy. What do you mean you don't understand? Or you can say, I get it. You wouldn't believe the questions I've got about that. Everybody's having the same problem as you are. What we just said is, hey, you're not alone in the world. You're not the only one who hasn't figured this out. And I'm using the PPP loan. It could be anything. And help them through the problem. Do you need some assistance? Do you need some advice? Do you have an advice giver? And there you go with your resource list. So nurture, nurture, nurture. Hey, it's okay. It can be figured out. It's changing all the time, but we can at least get you up to date with what it is now.
There's going to be a lot of questions. There are a lot of questions. And being someone like myself who loves to mentor small business people and help them, even in good times, to build bigger, stronger businesses, this is a little bit different. It's to build the business back from whence it came and all the challenges that lends itself to, which you've covered some of them. And it's very interesting. But again, I come back to what I said originally. It's all opportunity. And that's not just a Zig Ziglar thing or whatever. It is truly an opportunity for us selling ourselves, our products, services, to move right up next to people and try to help them. They're our customers, clients, friends, whatever. But the ones that will be successful, the salespeople will be most successful, are the ones that connect and build the strength and meet that opportunity head on, just like any other situation that may happen. And I'm always amazed, Mark, maybe digress a bit. There are only a handful of people, and I use that, a minority, that get situations like this, that see that opportunity and are able to define it and then deliver, execute on it. So what do we have to do as a salesperson, sales manager, to get myself or everybody else on the team focused?
Boy, that's a great question. And if there was one size that fits all, I'd be on Madison Avenue and people would be lined out the door, waiting for 5 minutes with Mark. And each situation is a little different. Before this all happened, my guess is that most of the businesses out there had some part of their sales process, sales team, sales communication. It wasn't really what they wanted it to be, right? And if it wasn't what they really wanted it to be 8 weeks ago, it certainly isn't what they want to move forward with now. So that's a big problem, yeah? And we got to find out what that was because, in my world, things were running relatively smoothly. I picked a great time to launch a new product at the first of the year, just had gotten it out, had my first 2 or 3 almost yeses, if you will, but certainly interest. Next meeting was to sign the contract, and poof, never saw them again. Because they're worried about their employees. They're not worried about me, and I get it. But we'll get back in touch again, and we'll move from there. But all of those sorts of things have happened beforehand. So not only do we what actually happened in the 8 weeks, we have to pick up from where they were 8 weeks ago, and it might have been a chocolate mess 8 weeks ago. And now we don't know what kind of mess it is. So all that adds together. And why people don't get it, I don't know the answer to that. I taught medical students biochemistry when I was in college, and kids would always ask me, why is it like that? And I could say, it's the way God made it. When you talk about metabolism or something, God intended it to be that way, and that's the way it works. Sorry, that's it. It ain't going to change, by the way, because it's in our DNA. Not necessarily here. This can change. This is all about behavior modification, right? Training, you call it whatever you want to, but everybody can be nice if they want to, even if they have to grit their teeth while they're doing it. So, I've dealt with engineering companies where, frankly, nurturing was alien to them. That we all have friends, associates, aunts, uncles, who, hey, people do a job. That's what they're supposed to do. We pay them. It's a deal. Nothing. You have kids. I didn't know you had kids. None of that soft stuff is anywhere. It's just utilitarian. And so those people need some help. I've written scripts for them, or not really scripts, but at least words to use over and over and over again. And maybe that's where you start. Hey, I think I understand. Tell me more. Oh, okay.
Well, what you're really talking about is folks going to need some training, some retraining, salespeople.
Yeah, and it's, having trained people for a lot of time, it's nobody gets trained to do anything in 15 minutes. Okay,
Right.
Look at, folks our age, Rick, are trying to use Zoom, for example. And we're getting it, and we can make a video, sorta. Is the background great? Do we know all those buttons are? I don't know, but I can't tell you how many 15-minute trainings I've had with someone, and I'm still not an expert. I can use it, and I think that's what we do here. We take baby steps so they can use it and they can figure out a few things. And what's going to happen is they're going to come back to you, Mr. Owner, Mr. Manager, Ms. Owner, and they're going to say, hey, I went out and asked that guy those questions like you said, and he wouldn't shut up. He talked to me about everything. Here's all the things we can do to fix for him, maybe someday. And that's the magic, really, is they have to see a success from the learned activity. And it's kind of like with your dog or cat or whoever you train, a little treat, a little goodie on the back end goes a long way. So,
and that goes for a lot of us in small business where, as the owner, we're the salesperson, right? The key salesperson.
Right.
So we've got to recognize that we need to train ourselves or retrain, refresh, whatever you want to call it. We need it. The situation calls for a total different approach.
Exactly, Rick. And there's so many business owners that have the little boy or girl inside of them that puts their hands on their hips and looks at their mom with the 2-year-old face and says, "I'll do it myself," and that's nice. But a little help goes a long way. And maybe if you didn't do it yourself, you'd be better off. If you're old enough to have had a teenager that you've tried to teach to drive, God love you. I failed at that miserably. I couldn't do it. I told my wife, I said, look, I'm a wreck. I can't do this. So we're going to have to pay someone to do this for us. Because we want, our son to be able to drive and feel comfortable. And none of that was going on when I was doing the teaching. And shoot, I'm a professional trainer, but it just didn't work with him. So the lesson there is mom and dad aren't necessarily the best trainers. And that's true for business owners. Owner may not be the best trainer.
Right. Yeah. We need to really think about it because we got to get that revenue up and coming in the door. And
Absolutely.
that is almost a different topic, but it is definitely related. Any final thoughts on this session one as far as, the right focus to take as you move forward?
I think the right focus is to be nurturing, find out what's up with them, put the mirror, reverse the mirror so they can see it. I think I understand. Please tell me more. And, those things, if you take those two things out of here and actually put them into place, I think we've done well. And in the next 2 sessions, we're going to say, what should your sales operation look like? What are the things you should be focusing on? Should be spend money on, whatever you spend your money on, and we're going to tell you how to figure that out too in the next one.
Well, I appreciate it, Mark. And like you said, you're going to be back with us. Now, if folks heard something today or have a question, what's the best way for them to reach out to you directly?
Sure. They can email me, probably the easiest, and this is an easy one. It's Mark, M-A-R-K, at markmiller, MILLER.us.
Okay. Well, thanks again, and look forward to part 2, and that will be next week. So please mark it down on your calendars and listen to us live here on the Weekly Business Hour. And I want to let you know that a pod video cast will be posted by Wednesday of this week. So if you missed something during the show and want to re-listen, or particularly, and we appreciate it, if you want to share it, it's out there on Wednesday. It'll be on the website at onebestconsult.com and other social media sites available to you. Second half of the show, we're going to talk a little bit. I've got a mailbag request I pulled out from one of our listeners about some things going on in his business, apparently, and we'll talk about that. And then I'm going to finish out the show today talking about rewriting your business plan for 2020 for the new reality. So kind of, Mark, picking up on what you said and talking about the business plan and hopefully offering some key points to keep in mind as you move forward. So we're going to go to our bottom of the hour break. I hope you'll stay with us, and we'll be right back on the other side.
Business talk on the Weekly Business Hour every Monday at 11 a.m. right here on Lone Star Community Radio.
A Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's radio station with talk, music, weather, and traffic for Montgomery County. Have a question or comment about one of our shows? Want to know how to reach a host? Just contact the station at irlonestar.com or call in and leave a message at 936-647-3776. Get involved with your community with Lone Star Community Radio.
Hi, I'm Keith O'Connell, CEO, coach, and business mentor. I've spent 4 decades helping multiple entrepreneurs use my principles to take their businesses to the next level. My methods do not fix your problems, they help you fix them for yourself. I call this process closing strong. Contact me at 713-557-1639 or visit my website at closingstrong.com for a risk-free 30-minute meeting to see how I can help you. Because a business can only go as far as its leader can take it.
Hey y'all, it's DJ Mike from Dance Time in Texas. Join me Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. as I count down the top 10 Texas Red Dirt songs that are packing the dance floor. I'll be featuring local artists and the story behind the hits, shows in the area, as well as new songs that make you want to dance. It's Dance Time in Texas with DJ Mike on Lone Star Community Radio, 104.5 KCZW and 106.1 KZCC, Conroe, Texas, or online, irlonestar.com.
Not sure who to turn to when you have a problem in your business? Listen to the Weekly Business Hour on Lone Star Community Radio.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Weekly Business Hour, and this is Rick Schissler, your host. Thank you again for joining us today, and I want to remind you again that the videocast podcast of this show are widely distributed on social media. You can pick it up at YouTube, Facebook, on the Weekly Business Hour channel. That'll be posted on Wednesday of this week. So again, we encourage you to tune into that if you want to re-listen. Again, also encourage you, for our benefit, share it with people. Share that videocast podcast with someone. And again, I also want to thank our sponsor for today, Keith O'Connell, and his organization, Closing Strong. If you need some help, and I happen to believe almost all of us need some kind of help, if you will, to get back on your feet. We just talked with Mark Miller. We talked about getting your sales operation, the sales piece, the revenue-generating part of your business back in gear. You need help. You need to look at things in a different way. But I think a good mentor is an absolute must for any business in any time. Business coach, whatever you want to call it and however you want to structure it. But Keith O'Connell and the folks that work with him, they're experts in this area. He's been at it for over 4 decades, tremendous amount of experience, and can help you guide your business back to success. So reach out to Keith O'Connell, closingstrong.com. That's closingstrong.com. Okay, just a quick comment. We just finished up, as I mentioned just a minute ago, with our initial soup to nuts conversation, sales in a new era. And what are we going to do about it? What are you going to do about your business? And I just want to give you an encouragement. It's there, the opportunity for you, and I'm being a little repetitive, but again, I get so frustrated because so many business people don't see this. But this is an opportunity for you and your business. If you can get your business back open, you can pay some rent, pay a mortgage, bring people back. Those obviously are priorities, but you got to generate revenue. And that's what Mark Miller was talking about, is getting your salespeople back. You yourself as a salesperson, whatever your setup is, you've got to look at this as an opportunity, and you need to reevaluate, if you will, how you approach your sales. And Mark is strongly suggesting that you look at your customer, your prospect, in a different way, express some empathy, and be a great listener, and let them unload some of the pressure that even you might have felt. You have a business. You felt all these pressures that other businesses have felt, being closed for 60, 90 days. So great opportunity, and I encourage you to re-listen to that conversation, and absolutely encourage you to join us next week and the following week for part 2 and 3 of our Soup to Nuts conversation, Sales or Selling in a New Era with Mark Miller. Had a listener request, our mailbag request as I call them on the show. These come in from time to time, and people are asking questions I think that the answers to would benefit a lot of people, so I try to talk about them. And this particular question came in: how do I communicate with my employees as I've had to lay them off or furlough them? Well, 30 days ago when this question first came in, it was absolutely on topic, because anybody that had an employee, or most people that had an employee or 100 employees or 10, they had to lay some of them, if not all of them, off. So there was a lot of anguish of, what do? I furlough these people. And the question is, how do I communicate with them? Well, I contend that that's just as important going forward as you bring people back, okay? And we've had a certain amount of controversy out there about different things, like the special federal add-on on unemployment has put some people where they're making more money just to sit at home, at least for 8 weeks total. So there's all kinds of challenges. But what I want to talk about in response to this question of communication with employees during this uncertain time, and that, in fact, continues. A new phase, we're getting ready to open. In many states, we're already opening. Some we're not, but we're all kind of at the edge waiting to execute and fully open our businesses. And I have four or five points I want to make to you. The first is, make sure that you have a contact list for your employees that's up to date. Now, this goes without saying, but you just can't imagine how many businesses, they may have an old phone number, they may not have an email address, have multiple ways to contact your employees. This goes without saying. You have emergency situations, whatever, but you've got to keep that list up, which means once a month, every quarter, twice a year, at least once a year, you ask everybody to fill out a piece of paper or go on their computer and update their information, provide you with that new address, that new email, that new phone number, that cell number, contact person. That's a very important thing. If there's an emergency, who's the contact? Secondly, make sure you have the facts right and connect these folks with the resources they need. So much information out there, unbelievable. And if your head isn't about to pop like mine with all the information that's being thrown at us, particularly on news programs and TV, but in writing, in electronic messaging, social media, all this information comes, and your employees are going to turn to you during times like this to know what the situation is. When can I come back to work? Can you direct me where I can get some food assistance? My family needs some food assistance. Can you help me? You as an employer, I encourage you, make yourself available, but be sure you have good information. Provide good information to these folks, and they will feel, even in a way, that they will trust you, and you will build a stronger bond or relationship with these people. Thirdly, consult with your experts. I believe, as you know, if you followed this show for very long, that we all should keep on tap 3 basic experts: our business attorney, our accountant, and our insurance agent or broker. Reach out to your business attorney, reach out to your accountant if they haven't already reached out to you, and reach out to your insurance person and say, what's new? What do we have to change? This is what I'm going to do when I reopen. Do you have any other advice? These people should be able to provide you with advice. I've seen a lot of checklists out there. How do you handle employees? Do you have to pay them? What about sick leave? That varies by state, but they should give you that advice so you do things right. Fourthly, at least once or twice a week, send a communication to any employee, anytime, that's not working for whatever reason. Make sure you do that you have a general communication. It could be specific, but once or twice a week, reach out to these people. Call them. That's something that is almost like a dying art. But pick up a phone and call people and say, hey, I'm just checking in. How are you guys doing? Talk to them. And last but not least, the most important thing to me throughout the situation, and this is kind of where I think the first sift, if you will, takes place between the winner and losers, always stay positive. So when people approach you and talk to you and in your communications in writing, digital form, or otherwise, it's positive. You don't need to be selling, but you need to be positive so that people will feel comfortable in asking and approaching you, whether it's an employee, a vendor, a prospect. People will want to do business with you because negativity is out there. Let's assure ourselves of that. So the positive person is going to win the game and absolutely going to get through that first sift and be on top of things. So hopefully you'll make a note of those things. Update contact lists. Make sure you have facts right and share them with employees. Share resources with them. Consult your business experts, business attorney, accountant, and business insurance agent. Make sure you've got the information from them that you need so you do things right going forward. And at least once or twice a week, communicate with people who are not back at work. Obviously, you do that, I would assume, in the workplace, right? Be sure you do it when they're not in the workplace. And stay positive. We're going to take our final break of the day. When we come back, I'm going to offer you my One Best Consult tip of the week, and that is titled Rewriting Your Business Plan for 2020 for the New Reality. So please stay tuned. We'll be right back with you.
It's all business talk on the Weekly Business Hour every Monday at 11 a.m. right here on Lone Star Community Radio.
Want to check out the fastest growing sport in the world? It's right here in Conroe, Texas, and it's roller derby. Conroe Roller Derby is a nonprofit recreational league of women and men who want you to come and check out the fast-paced, hard-hitting game of roller derby. The Conroe Cutthroats practice at Rainbow Roller Rink on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. You can find our game schedule and more information on our website, www.conroerollerderby.com.
Hi, I'm Keith O'Connell, CEO, coach, and business mentor. I've spent 4 decades helping multiple entrepreneurs use my principles to take their businesses to the next level. My methods do not fix your problems, they help you fix them for yourself. I call this process closing strong. Contact me at 713-557-1639 or visit my website at closingstrong.com for a risk-free 30-minute meeting to see how I can help you. Because a business can only go as far as its leader can take it.
Remember to download the Lone Star Community Radio app from your Google Play Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM 104.5, 106.1. If you are on your computer, bookmark irlonestar.com as your internet radio station. Lone Star Community Radio broadcasting 24/7 from the heart of downtown Conroe, Texas.
For business ideas and news you can use, join us on the Weekly Business Hour every Monday at 11 a.m. on Lone Star Community Radio.
Welcome back. You've been listening to the Weekly Business Hour. Rick Schissler, your host, and again, thanks for being with us. And this is our last segment of the day, and this is where we do One Best Consult Tip of the Week. But before we get to that, I want to remind you that if you're listening and your business is in the Montgomery County area, you too can be a sponsor of this program. The weekly business hour, what a great way to reach out through radio, through our community radio station, Lone Star Community Radio, and advertise your business. And they've got some great special opportunities because of everybody opening their businesses. It's a great time to put your name out there and do so on the weekly business hour. If you'd like more information, just reach out to me. Email onebestconsult@gmail.com. That's onebestconsult@gmail.com. One Best Consult tip of the week, rewriting your business plan for 2020 for the new reality. Relax just a bit. We're not going to go through your business plan. We're not going to pull out our pens and pencils or get on our keyboards and rewrite the plan. But the idea is, and we, again, talked about it in the sales, soup to nuts conversation about sales and the new reality. But I think you need to revisit your business plan, whether your business plan is up here, you guys are hearing me, right? You just carry it around in your head, or hopefully have at least one sheet of paper for sharing purposes, if nothing else, because I believe, as you know, that we need to be willing to share all or part of our business plan with our employees, vendors, so on and so forth. So, but three things I really wanted to convey to you today. First of all is stop for a minute. Again, regardless of how you write it down, so to speak, gather the current facts on your business. I think we can all agree, and we've discussed it earlier, business has changed. And there's so many people out there trying to tell us on TV, radio, social media what the changes are going to be, but your business is unique. Your situation is unique to you. You can listen to all these people talk about it, but reality is you need to sit down and think about what your business is going to look like going forward from this point in time. So gather the facts on your business, what the market looks like, how your customers are doing, how your vendors are doing. In other words, how the three key components of any business, customers, vendors, and the market for your business, which will change each day, each week going forward, probably in some cases a dramatic fashion as more and more people get involved in the economy again. But take stock and decide what that means to you. And this is something you're probably going to want to do once a month for the next 6 months at least. I know it takes some time for you to sit back, but take that time. Shut the door to the office or go for a ride, get away. Make sure you think clearly, because if you try to open up and operate like you did 60, 90 days ago, you are going to lose some opportunities and your business is going to have more pressure put on it. Secondly, adjust your production and delivery to fit the conclusions that you come to in number one. Production, meaning your service business, you're producing a product or reselling products. Make sure you take the steps and do them sooner than later. Don't rush, but adjust that production and delivery of your products to fit the new reality, which I happen to believe is going to impact most, if not all, businesses. Again, turn it around, make it an opportunity. Look for a new way to deliver. I was reading an article this past weekend in the Wall Street Journal Weekend Edition about a restaurant and the impact that restaurant, all the people impacted by the fact that his restaurant in Cleveland had to shut down. It was amazing. Yes, there were vendors, all kinds of vendors with food and supplies and linens, but what it did to their business because they're customers and what the new reality, and in this case, the restaurant has decided they want to go into the catering business as a sideline. They see more opportunity, but that's a way for them to come back as well as try to operate the restaurants, which typically are under very tight restrictions. Thirdly, don't be afraid to cut back. Don't be afraid to make decisions, but make sure, again, number one, they're informed, that you take time, and don't be afraid to change. The restaurant I was talking about, the young man who owns that restaurant has made a decision to do the catering as a way to be part of his comeback. I saw another deal, apparently a well-known, I call them fish houses, steak and fish, down in Florida, and they started doing home delivery. He has 5 trucks now doing home delivery. He says, in the interview I saw, he says, I never even dreamed it, didn't even think about doing home delivery. But when he was shut down in his restaurant, in his storefront, so to speak, he started delivering. He found people were loyal. They had a huge demand for his food. He figured it out. So now he says, I'm not going backwards. We're going to do home delivery. because I think there'll be certain people that just won't get out as much. So think like that. Don't be afraid to cut back. Drop products or services or expand products and services. Again, being thoughtful about what you do. Don't grab the latest, greatest. Get things that work for you and work your way in it, but don't be afraid to do that. And obviously, once you're ready to go, give it the green light and implement and focus. Again, thanks for joining us today. I hope you'll take time next week to be part of the show and join us right here on Monday at 11 o'clock. Mark Miller will be back, part 2 of our Soup to Nuts conversation, Selling in the New Era. And until next week, stay engaged. Keep your focus on what counts in your business. Thanks.
Today's show was recorded and broadcasted live on irlonestar.com, Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and all rights and ownership are reserved to Lone Star Community Radio. For more information regarding this program and Lone Star Community Radio, visit us online at IR. Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's community radio station, serving the community with local programming on TV, radio, and online. If you enjoyed today's program, please support us by sponsorship or starting your own show. Contact us today by phone or text at 936-666-1084 or email the station at lscrstudios@gmail.com.